There is a specific kind of silence that happens right before someone rises. Not the silence of peace, not the quiet of contentment. The silence of someone who has been down long enough that they have stopped explaining themselves to anyone, including themselves. The silence of a person sitting in the rubble of something they built, or something they were, or something they believed was permanent, and realizing that the rubble is real and the road back is longer than they can currently see. If you are in that silence right now, I want you to know something before we go any further. Your field is still on. Your electromagnetic signature, the actual measurable radiance generated by your heart and nervous system, did not go quiet when your life did. It shifted. It compressed. It changed its broadcast in ways that have been shaping what reaches you and what doesn't, what assembles around you and what stays away. But it did not go dark. You cannot turn off what you fundamentally are. And today, I am going to show you exactly what is happening in your energy field during a comeback. Not a comeback as a motivational concept. A comeback as a precise quantum event. A measurable shift in your electromagnetic broadcast that changes what reality can deliver to you. Because here is what almost no one tells you when you are in the middle of rebuilding. The field comes back before the life does. The signal clears before the evidence appears. And if you don't understand that sequence, you will misread your own progress and give up 3 steps before the delivery. This is the only video you need right now. Not because it will tell you what to do, but because it will show you what you already are, and what that means for everything that is coming toward you. Let's begin with what is actually happening in your body right now, because this is where the comeback lives. Not in your plan, not in your strategy, in your field. Your heart generates the most powerful electromagnetic field in your body. This is not metaphor. The HeartMath Institute, a research organization that has spent over 3 decades measuring the relationship between the heart's electromagnetic output and human experience, has documented that the heart's electrical field is approximately 60 times greater in amplitude than the electrical activity of the brain. The heart's magnetic field, which is the component that extends beyond your body into the space around you, is measurable up to several feet away from the surface of your skin using sensitive magnetometers. This field is not static. It changes moment to moment based on your emotional and physiological state. It carries information, and it broadcasts that information into the environment around you before you say a single word, before you make a single move, before anyone can consciously register your presence. What that means for your comeback is this. The moment your heart begins to shift its coherence pattern, the moment the rhythm of your heartbeat moves from the jagged, fragmented pattern of chronic stress into something more ordered and sustained, your broadcast changes. The field you are projecting into the room, into the conversation, into the quantum space around you, changes. And reality, which is assembled from the intersection of fields, begins to respond to the new signal. Most people think the comeback is the external event, the new job, the healed relationship, the financial recovery, the recognition. The moment someone finally sees what they are capable of. But that is the delivery. The comeback itself, the actual quantum event of it, happens in the field first. It happens when the signal shifts. And understanding that distinction is not just philosophically interesting. It is practically essential because it tells you where to put your energy when you have very little of it left. Let me show you something about what your field has been doing during the hardest part of this. When a person goes through a significant loss, a collapse, a betrayal, a failure at something that mattered deeply, the heart's coherence pattern does something specific. It fragments the heart rate variability, which is the beat-to-beat variation in your heart rhythm, and which HeartMath researchers use as a direct measure of your field's coherence, shifts into a chaotic pattern. The waves become irregular, jagged, without the smooth sinusoidal rise and fall of a coherent heart. And in that fragmented state, your electromagnetic broadcast carries that fragmentation outward. The field around you becomes, in measurable terms, incoherent. Now here is what incoherence does at the quantum level. And this is the part that explains so much about why hard times compound on themselves. An incoherent field is not simply a weaker field. It is a disorganized one. And disorganized fields do not entrain other fields efficiently. They do not create the resonance that draws coherent things toward them. In practical terms, this means that when your field is in a state of chronic incoherence from sustained stress or grief or defeat, the things that require coherent resonance to reach you, the opportunities, the connections, the synchronicities that seem almost too perfectly timed, have a much harder time locking onto your signal. Not because you are unworthy of them, because your broadcast is not currently organized in a way that allows them to find you. This is not punishment. This is physics. And physics, unlike punishment, has a solution. The solution is coherence. And coherence is something you can choose, even in the middle of the rubble, even when you cannot yet see the path, even when the evidence of your life has not yet caught up with the shift happening inside you. But before I show you how to activate that shift, I want to stay here for a moment longer, because there is something important about what you have been carrying that needs to be seen clearly before it can be released. There is a specific broadcast pattern that develops in people who have been through something genuinely difficult and have not yet come out the other side. I want to describe it with precision, because the moment you recognize it in yourself, the recognition itself begins to change it. If this is landing in your field right now, there is something I want to offer you. Have you spent years trying to feel lit up again? Visualizations, affirmations, vibration work, and the light still won't hold? Every one of those methods is telling you to push harder, do more, add another technique. It's not working, because the issue isn't that you don't have enough light. 6 specific patterns are sitting on top of it. They're called the frequencies of forgetting. The remembering field, a quantum guide to returning to the light. You forgot you were carrying walks through all 5 parts of getting those patterns off you. Every tool you used tried to add more light. This one lifts what's been sitting on the light you already carry. The longer you wait, the harder they get to clear. So go open it tonight. The link is in the pinned comment below. Now, let's return to the precise mechanics of what your field is carrying and how it transforms. It is a field that is simultaneously contracted and vigilant. Contracted because the nervous system, after sustained threat or loss, learns to make itself smaller, to take up less space, to reduce its energetic footprint as a protective strategy, and vigilant because underneath the contraction, there is still awareness, still scanning, still looking for the opening, the moment, the sign that it is safe to expand again. The field is not collapsed. It is coiled. And there is an enormous difference between those 2 states. A collapsed field has given up the broadcast. A coiled field is holding its energy in reserve, waiting for the signal to release. If you have been through something hard, and you are still here, still watching, still looking for the way forward, your field is not collapsed. It is coiled. And coiled energy, when it releases, does not return to where it was before. It launches. This is the quantum physics of the comeback. The compression itself becomes the propulsion. The contraction of your field during the hard season, if it has not broken your coherence entirely, but has simply concentrated it, creates the conditions for a release of energy that exceeds what was there before the compression began. This is not motivational language. This is how fields work. A compressed spring releases more force than a relaxed one. A coiled electromagnetic field, when it achieves coherence and expands, broadcasts with an intensity that a field that has never contracted cannot match. What you have been through has not diminished your radiance. It has concentrated it. And the moment you understand that, the moment you stop reading the contraction as evidence of your diminishment and start reading it as the gathering of force before the release, everything about how you move through this changes. I want to stay with the mechanics of that contraction for a moment longer, because there is something specific happening inside a coiled field that most people never get to see clearly. And seeing it changes the experience of being in it. When your field contracts under sustained pressure, the contraction does not affect all parts of your broadcast equally. The parts of your signal that are most rooted in external validation. The parts that say, I am valuable because of what I have built, or I am capable because others have confirmed it, or I am safe because the structure around me is intact. Those parts fragment first. They are the most fragile components of any person's broadcast because they depend on external conditions remaining stable. When the conditions shift, those signal components lose their organizing reference point and begin to scatter. But there are other parts of your broadcast that do not fragment, the parts that are rooted not in what you have or what you have achieved or what others have confirmed about you, but in what you actually are at the level of your electromagnetic nature, the curiosity, the care, the specific quality of attention you bring to the things that genuinely interest you, the warmth that arises in you when you are in the presence of something true or beautiful or precisely right. These signal components do not depend on external conditions. They are generated from inside the field itself. And during the contraction, while the external validation components are scattering, these deeper components are often becoming more concentrated, more pure, more clearly themselves, because the noise of the external validation broadcast has gone quiet and is no longer obscuring them. This is why people who have been through genuine difficulty and are in the middle of a real comeback often describe feeling underneath all the loss more like themselves than they have in years. Not better, not happier, more themselves. The contraction stripped away the parts of the broadcast that were borrowed from external sources, and what remains is more purely their own signal. And a pure signal, even a contracted one, is a more powerful broadcast than a diluted one that is full and loud. If this transmission is landing in your field, if something in you is recognizing what we are describing here, please take a moment to like this video and subscribe so this work can keep reaching the people who need it. Now let's go deeper. Let me tell you about a woman named Celestine. Celestine had built something over the course of 9 years that she was genuinely proud of. Not in the way people say they are proud of things when they want others to be impressed. In the private way, the way that matters more. She had built a small architecture firm that did beautiful work that respected the people who would live inside the buildings, work that took seriously the relationship between structure and light and human well-being. She had 3 people working with her. She had a reputation in her city that had taken nearly a decade to establish. And then, in the space of about 14 months, it came apart. The reasons were multiple, and they compounded each other the way reasons do when timing turns against you. An economic shift that hit her particular market hard. A partnership that dissolved badly. A key client who left and whose departure signaled to others that something had changed. By the time Celestine sat in her office on the last day before she had to close it, she had already done the practical things. She had helped her 3 employees find new positions. She had settled what needed to be settled. She had been, by every external measure, responsible and clear-headed through the entire process. But sitting in that empty office, she felt something she did not have language for. It was not grief exactly, though grief was part of it. It was more like a frequency drop, as if something in her had been broadcasting at a certain register for 9 years, a signal that said, I am building something real. I am someone who creates. I am a person whose work has weight in the world. And that signal had just gone silent. Not because it was wrong, because the external structure that had been carrying it no longer existed. She went home. She spent several weeks doing very little. She told herself she was resting, and some of it was rest. But underneath the rest was something she recognized later as a kind of field confusion. Her electromagnetic broadcast, the signal her heart and nervous system were sending into the space around her, had lost its organizing principle. The thing she had been radiating toward for 9 years was gone. and she had not yet found what to radiate toward next. So the field contracted. It became careful. It became quiet. The people who loved Celestine could feel it. They would describe it later as a kind of dimming. Not that she was sad, exactly, though she was that too, but that the particular quality of light she had always carried. The sense of someone whose inner architecture was as carefully considered as the buildings she designed, had gone somewhere interior, as if she had drawn the curtains on herself. What Celestine did not know during those months was that her field was not gone. It was reorganizing. The contraction she experienced as loss was actually her electromagnetic field pulling inward to find a new coherence pattern. The old organizing signal, the one that had said, "I am building this particular thing in this particular way," had completed its function. And her field was in the process of something that has no good word in English, but that physicists who study field dynamics would recognize. It was looking for its next eigenstate. An eigenstate in quantum mechanics is a stable state of a system, a state in which the system's properties are well defined and consistent. When a quantum system is disturbed, it does not immediately collapse. It enters a period of superposition, a state of multiple simultaneous possibilities, before settling into a new eigenstate. The settling can look, from the outside, like nothing is happening. But inside the system, everything is happening. Every possible next state is being explored simultaneously. The system is not broken. It is choosing. This is what was happening in Celestine's field during those quiet months. She was in superposition. Every possible version of her next chapter was simultaneously present in her field, not as conscious plans, but as quantum possibilities. And her field was doing the work of collapsing that superposition into the specific coherence pattern that would become her next eigenstate, her next stable broadcast. The turning point came, as these things often do, not from a plan, but from a moment of unexpected coherence. She was walking through a neighborhood she had designed a small community building in, years before the firm closed. She had not been there since the closure. She walked past the building without intending to stop, and then she stopped, because there was a child, maybe 7 years old, sitting on the steps of that building, drawing in a sketchbook. And something about the sight of it, a child drawing on the steps of something she had made, something that was still standing, still being used, still holding space for human life, hit her field like a tuning fork hitting a bell. She felt it physically. a warmth in her chest that started small and expanded. Her breathing changed, and something in her that had been very still for a long time moved. That warmth was not sentiment. That was her heart's coherence pattern shifting. That was her heart rate variability, which had been jagged and fragmented for months, beginning to organize itself into a smoother, more coherent wave. That was her electromagnetic field beginning to recohere around a new organizing signal, one that was older and deeper than the firm, one that had always been underneath it. The signal that said, "I create spaces where human life can be more fully itself." The firm was a vehicle. The signal was the thing. And the signal had never stopped being true. Within 6 months of that moment, Celestine had begun working in a completely different way. Not rebuilding the firm, building something new that the old structure had not had room for. She began consulting with community organizations on the design of public spaces, work that paid less, but that put her in direct contact with the people who would live inside what she created. She began teaching. She began writing about the relationship between architectural space and human well-being in ways that reached people far beyond her city. The comeback was not a return to what was. It was the release of what had been coiled inside what was, waiting for the compression to end. And the moment her field recohered, the moment her electromagnetic broadcast reorganized around the signal that had always been true underneath the 9 years of building, things began to reach her that had not been able to find her during the contraction. Not because the world had changed, because her broadcast had. I want to stay with Celestine for a moment longer, because there is something in her story that the summary version does not fully capture, and it is the thing that matters most for where you are right now. In the weeks after she saw the child on the steps, Celestine did not immediately spring into action. She did not wake up the next morning with a plan. What she did, almost without deciding to, was begin paying attention to the moments when the warmth in her chest returned. She started noticing when her field was doing the thing it had done on those steps. That small but unmistakable expansion. That sense of something in her responding to something in the world. She began, without naming it as such, tracking her own coherence. She noticed it when she walked past a school and heard children arguing about the best way to build something out of blocks, genuinely arguing, with the passionate investment that children bring to problems that matter to them. She noticed it when a friend described a neighborhood that had been transformed by a single well-designed public square, and something in her chest lit up with the specific pleasure of a person who understands exactly why that works. She noticed it in a conversation with a city planner who was frustrated by the gap between what communities needed and what developers were willing to build, and who looked at Celestine halfway through the conversation with the expression of someone who has just found the person they were looking for. Each of these moments was small. None of them was a plan. But Celestine was, without fully realizing it, doing something precise. She was following the coherence. She was letting the warmth in her chest be her compass, rather than the strategic logic of what she should do next. And the warmth was leading her reliably toward the signal that was hers, the one underneath the firm, the one that had always been there. This is the practice inside the parable, following the coherence, not the performed enthusiasm of someone trying to feel better. The genuine warmth that arises in the chest when the field is resonating with something true. That warmth is not a feeling. It is a measurement. It is your electromagnetic field telling you that what is in front of you is resonant with your actual signal. And in the middle of a comeback, when the external map has been torn up and you do not yet have a new one, that measurement is the most reliable navigation available. Now, I want to show you something specific about your own field right now, in this moment, as you are listening to this, because there is a practice I want to walk you through that is not a visualization exercise or a breathing technique in the general sense. It is a specific protocol for shifting your heart's coherence pattern. And it works through a mechanism that heart math researchers call positive emotional refocusing. Here is the mechanism before the practice, because understanding what you are doing makes it more effective. When you deliberately shift your attention to a genuine positive emotional state, not a forced or performed one, but an authentic one, even a small one, your heart's rhythm changes measurably within seconds. The beat-to-beat variation shifts from a chaotic pattern to a more ordered one. As that ordering happens, your heart sends a different signal to your brain through the vagus nerve, which is the primary communication pathway between your heart and your brain. The brain receives this signal and begins to synchronize its own electrical activity with the heart's new rhythm. This is called heart-brain coherence. And in a state of heart-brain coherence, the electromagnetic field your heart is broadcasting changes in quality. It becomes more organized, more expansive, and more capable of entraining the fields around it. This is not a metaphor for feeling better. This is the measurable mechanism by which your broadcast changes. And a changed broadcast changes what reaches you. So here is what I want you to do right now. Place your hand on your chest, not as a gesture, but as a physical act of directing your attention to the location of your heart. Feel the warmth of your own hand against your sternum. Feel your chest rise and fall with your breath. Now I want you to breathe in a specific pattern. Breathe in slowly for a count of 5. Breathe out slowly for a count of 5. This rhythm, 5 seconds in and 5 seconds out, is called coherent breathing, and it has been shown in multiple studies to produce a measurable increase in heart rate variability, coherence within minutes. You are not just calming down. You are reorganizing your electromagnetic output. As you breathe in this rhythm, I want you to bring to mind something specific. Not a goal, not a future vision. A moment of genuine warmth that has already happened. A moment when something you made or said or did touched someone else. A moment when you felt the specific pleasure of being exactly who you are. A moment when something worked the way it was supposed to. When the signal you were broadcasting and the reality assembling around you were in alignment. It does not have to be a major moment. Celestine's turning point was a child drawing on steps. The size of the moment is irrelevant. What matters is its authenticity, the genuine quality of the warmth it generates in your chest when you recall it. Hold that warmth, not by gripping it, but by allowing your attention to rest in it, the way you might rest your eyes on something beautiful. Let it expand naturally. Notice that as it expands, your breathing tends to deepen without effort. Notice that the hand on your chest might feel a slight increase in warmth. This is real. This is your field responding. What you are doing right now is not preparing for your comeback. You are beginning it. Because the comeback, the quantum event of it, starts with this shift. The shift in your heart's coherence pattern. The shift in your electromagnetic broadcast. The shift in what the field around you is saying to the quantum field that reads it. Stay with this for as long as it takes to feel the warmth stabilize. Not peak and pass, but settle into a steady, quiet glow. That steadiness is coherence. That is your field at higher organization. And from this state, everything I am about to tell you will land differently than it would have 60 seconds ago. because your field is now more open to receiving it. I want to add a layer to this practice that most coherence protocols do not include, because it is specific to the comeback, and it addresses something that the standard heart coherence work does not fully reach. When you are in the middle of a difficult season, there is often a specific interference pattern running in your field that sits just underneath the surface of your conscious attention. It is not quite a thought and not quite a feeling. It is more like a low-frequency hum of wrongness, a signal that says something is fundamentally off, that you are behind where you should be, that the distance between where you are and where you need to be is too large to cross. This interference pattern does not go quiet just because you are breathing coherently. It runs underneath the coherence practice and erodes it from below. The way to address this specific interference is not to argue with it, not to try to replace it with positive affirmations about how everything is fine, but to do something very precise. Bring your attention to the oldest version of the warmth, not a recent memory of things going well. Something older, something from before the difficult season began, something from before the fixed patterns of your adult life had fully formed, a moment from early enough in your life that the interference pattern was not yet running, a moment when you were simply yourself, before the self became a strategy. For some people, this is a childhood memory of making something with their hands and feeling the pure satisfaction of the thing existing. For others, it is a moment of being completely absorbed in something they loved before anyone told them whether it was practical or valuable. For others, it is simply a memory of a particular quality of light, a particular time of day, a particular place where they felt completely at ease inside their own skin. Whatever that moment is for you, bring it forward now, not to escape the present, but to remind your field of its original frequency, the frequency before the accumulation, the signal before the interference, because that frequency is still in there. It has not been erased. It has been overlaid. And the moment you touch it, even briefly, even in memory, your field recognizes it the way you recognize your own name. And the recognition is a coherence event. The interference pattern loses amplitude. The original signal, the one underneath everything, gets briefly louder. Breathe into that. Let the original frequency have 30 seconds of your full attention. And notice what happens in your chest. That is your field remembering itself. Have you ever felt your own field shift in a moment like that? A moment when the warmth in your chest expanded and something in the room seemed to change with it? Drop it in the comments. Your experience of your own field activating is worth naming out loud. Now let me go deeper into the mechanics of what happens when a comeback field activates. There is a phenomenon in physics called entrainment. It was first documented by the Dutch physicist Christian Huygens in 1666, who noticed that two pendulum clocks mounted on the same wall, when started at different rhythms, would gradually synchronize their swing over time. The vibrations of one clock transmitted through the wall and influenced the other until they were moving in the same rhythm. This is entrainment, the tendency of one oscillating system to synchronize with another when they share a medium. Your heart generates an electromagnetic field. Every person you come into proximity with also generates an electromagnetic field. Those fields share a medium, which is the electromagnetic spectrum, the same spectrum that carries light and radio waves, and the signals between every electronic device on Earth. And when two electromagnetic fields are in proximity, they influence each other. They tend toward entrainment. What this means for your comeback is both humbling and extraordinary. It means that when you walk into a room in a state of high heart coherence, your field does not just affect your own experience of the room. It begins to entrain the fields of the people in it, not by force, not by performance, by resonance. The organized, coherent signal your heart is broadcasting creates a kind of electromagnetic invitation for the fields around it to organize in response. This is why certain people seem to change the energy of a room by entering it. This is not charisma in the conventional sense, though it may produce what looks like charisma. It is coherence. A highly coherent field, when it enters a space, begins to pull the surrounding fields toward its level of organization. People feel calmer, more focused, more open. They cannot always say why. They will attribute it to the person's confidence or warmth or presence. But what they are actually responding to is the electromagnetic signal, the broadcast. And here is what this means for your comeback specifically. The moment your field achieves coherence, even partial coherence, even the beginning of it, you begin to entrain the fields around you toward that coherence. The conversations you have start to carry a different quality. The people you encounter respond differently, not because you said something different, but because you are broadcasting something different. The opportunities that require a certain quality of energetic signal to recognize you begin to find your frequency. You do not have to be fully recovered to begin this process. You do not have to have all the answers, or the complete plan, or the healed heart. You have to have enough coherence to begin broadcasting a signal that is more organized than the fragmented one you have been sending during the hardest months. And enough coherence is achievable right now. You just did some of it in that practice. But there is a subtlety here that I want to address directly, because it is the place where most people's comebacks stall even when they are doing everything right. The subtlety is this: coherence is not performance, and the difference between them is detectable at the field level in ways that matter enormously for what reaches you. When someone is performing coherence, performing confidence, performing the comeback before they actually feel it, their heart rate variability tells a different story than their behavior does. The external signals say, "I am fine. I am back. I am strong." But the electromagnetic field, which cannot be curated the way a social media post can, is still broadcasting the fragmented pattern of the underlying state. And the quantum field reads the electromagnetic signal, not the performance. This is why forcing positivity during a hard time often does not produce the results people expect. It is not that positive thinking is wrong. It is that performed positivity that lives only in the behavior and not in the actual coherence of the field, does not change the broadcast. It changes the surface presentation, while the underlying signal remains the same. And reality assembles around the signal, not the presentation. This is also, incidentally, why authentic vulnerability during a comeback can be more powerful than performed strength. A person who is genuinely present with their own difficulty, who is not fragmented by it, but is coherently present with it, is broadcasting a more organized signal than a person who is performing recovery they have not yet experienced. Coherent presence with difficulty is still coherence. It still broadcasts an organized field. And an organized field, even one organized around the honest acknowledgement of where you are right now, is more powerful than a disorganized one performing a destination it has not reached. The comeback does not require you to pretend you are already there. It requires you to be genuinely here, with enough coherence to hold the signal of where you are going alongside the honest reality of where you are now. That is a different kind of strength than the one most people try to perform. And it is a far more effective broadcast. Let me show you what this looks like in the field with more precision. there is a specific state that HeartMath researchers describe as psychophysiological coherence, and it has measurable markers. When a person is in this state, their heart rate variability pattern shows a smooth, sine wave-like rhythm. Their low-frequency power in the heart rate variability spectrum increases significantly. Their autonomic nervous system shifts toward a balance of sympathetic and parasympathetic activity, rather than the chronic sympathetic dominance of stress. Their cortisol levels, the primary stress hormone, tend to decrease. Their DHEA levels, which is a hormone associated with vitality and resilience, tend to increase. Their immune function improves. Their cognitive performance, specifically their ability to think clearly and make good decisions, improves. All of this happens in the body, but all of it also changes the electromagnetic broadcast. Because the field your heart generates is not separate from your physiological state, it is an expression of it. When your physiology shifts into coherence, your field shifts into coherence. And when your field shifts into coherence, what is possible around you shifts. There is one more physiological detail here that I want to name specifically, because it is directly relevant to the experience of being in a comeback, and it is rarely discussed in this context. When your heart rate variability pattern achieves coherence, the signal it sends through the vagus nerve to the brain activates a region called the prefrontal cortex with particular efficiency. The prefrontal cortex is the part of your brain responsible for perspective, for the ability to hold multiple possibilities simultaneously, for the recognition of patterns across time, and for what researchers call inhibitory control, which is the capacity to not react to a threat signal and instead choose a response. During the fragmented, incoherent state of chronic stress, the prefrontal cortex is functionally suppressed. The brain runs on the more reactive, threat-focused circuitry of the amygdala. This is why, during the hardest part of a difficult season, everything feels more dangerous than it probably is, and every setback feels more permanent than it probably is, and every closed door feels more final than it probably is. The brain is not processing reality accurately. It is processing it through the filter of a suppressed prefrontal cortex and an overactive threat response. When heart coherence is achieved, even briefly, the prefrontal cortex comes back online. And the moment it does, the same situation that looked catastrophic 30 seconds ago looks different. Not because the situation changed, because the instrument reading it changed. The comeback requires accurate perception as much as it requires anything else. And accurate perception requires a coherent field feeding a functioning prefrontal cortex. This is why the coherence practice is not optional during a comeback. It is not a supplement to the real work. It is the precondition for the real work to be done accurately. Now, I want to talk about something that is specific to the comeback moment. Something that distinguishes the field of someone in the middle of a genuine comeback from the field of someone who is simply recovering. Recovery is a return to baseline. The comeback is something else. It is a return to a higher coherence than you had before the difficulty began, because of what the difficulty did to your field. Here is the mechanism. When your field contracts under sustained pressure, when it fragments under loss or failure or betrayal, the fragmentation is not simply destructive. It is also a kind of dissolution of patterns that had become fixed. Fixed patterns in an electromagnetic field are not always beneficial. Sometimes they are simply old. Habits of broadcast that were established early, that served a purpose at one point, that have been running on automatic for years without being examined or chosen. Patterns that say, I am someone who plays small, or I am someone who needs approval before I act, or I am someone whose worth depends on the external validation of my work. These fixed patterns are not character. They are broadcast habits, and a significant disruption to the field, while painful, has the capacity to break them up, to dissolve the fixed pattern and create the conditions for a new one to form. One that is more consciously chosen. One that reflects who you actually are rather than who the accumulated conditioning of your history said you were. This is why people who have been through genuine difficulty and come out the other side often describe themselves as more themselves than they were before. Not because suffering is ennobling in some abstract sense, but because the disruption broke up the fixed broadcast patterns that were not actually theirs, and the reorganization that followed allowed them to choose their signal for the first time, consciously, rather than running the one they inherited or developed under pressure. The comeback is not a return to who you were. It is the emergence of who you actually are, once the patterns that were not yours have been cleared. And this is why your field, right now, if you are in the middle of this, is more interesting than it has ever been. Because it is in the process of choosing its next eigenstate. And for the first time, perhaps, you are awake enough to participate consciously in that choice. Let me tell you about a man named Darion. Darion had spent 20 years being very good at something he did not love. He was a financial analyst. He was precise, thorough, reliable. He was the kind of person his colleagues described as solid, which is a word that sounds like a compliment and contains, if you listen carefully, a slight note of limitation. Solid, not brilliant, not luminous. Solid. Darion had built his life around being solid because solid was safe. He had grown up in a household where unpredictability was the dominant weather system, where the adults around him were erratic in ways that made steadiness feel like the highest possible virtue. He had chosen a career that rewarded steadiness. He had married someone who valued steadiness. He had built a life that looked from the outside exactly like what it was supposed to look like. And then his marriage ended. Not dramatically, quietly, in the way that things end when two people have been performing a life together rather than living one. His wife, in the conversation where they finally said what had been true for years, told him something that landed in his field like a stone in still water. She said, "I never felt like I knew who you actually were. I felt like I knew who you were trying to be." Darion did not argue. He recognized it, not as a criticism of her perception, but as an accurate description of his broadcast. He had been transmitting solid for 20 years, and solid is not a self. It is a strategy. The 18 months that followed were the most disorienting of his life. The divorce, the restructuring of his financial life, the apartment that felt like a temporary measure even after he had lived in it for a year. The colleagues who were kind in the careful way people are kind to someone they are slightly afraid of because they do not know what to say. The weekends that were suddenly empty in a way they had never been when there was a household to maintain. But underneath the disorientation, something was happening in Darion's field that he could not have named at the time. The fixed pattern, the one that said, "I am solid, I am safe, I am the one who does not require anything surprising from the world," was breaking up. The dissolution that his marriage ending had caused in his field was not simply loss. It was also liberation from a broadcast he had never consciously chosen. He started doing things that solid Darion would not have done. He took a drawing class, not because he thought he was talented, but because he had always been curious about it and had never allowed himself to be a beginner at anything in front of other people. He started running, not for fitness, but because something about the rhythm of it, the simple physical fact of moving through space under his own power made him feel like a person rather than a function. He started having conversations with people he would previously have categorized as not relevant to his professional life, and discovering that those conversations were the most interesting he had ever had. His field was reorganizing, and as it reorganized, it began broadcasting something it had never broadcast before: curiosity, openness, the specific quality of light that belongs to someone who has stopped performing a self and is, perhaps for the first time, exploring what the actual self might be. The people around him noticed, not all at once, but gradually. His colleagues began coming to him with different kinds of questions, not just the technical ones, but the ones that required a certain kind of thinking that solid Darion would have redirected to someone more appropriate. A friend he had not been close to for years called him out of nowhere and said, "I don't know what's different about you, but I want to spend more time around you." A woman he met at the drawing class, who was a landscape architect, began a conversation about the relationship between financial systems and ecological design that turned into a collaboration he could not have predicted, and that eventually became the most meaningful work of his professional life. None of this happened because Darion had a plan. It happened because his field changed. Because the dissolution of the fixed pattern created space for the actual signal to emerge. And the actual signal, the one that had been underneath solid for 20 years, was not solid at all. It was curious and warm and genuinely interested in the world in ways that the performance of steadiness had been suppressing. The comeback for Darion was not a return to financial analysis. It was the emergence of a person who had always been there, waiting for the broadcast to change. What I want to name about Darion's story that the summary does not fully surface is the specific moment when the field shift became irreversible. It was not the drawing class. It was not the running. It was a moment about 4 months into the new apartment, when he was sitting at his desk on a Saturday morning with no obligations and no structure and no role to perform. And he felt, for the first time in as long as he could remember, genuinely curious about what the day might hold. Not anxious about the emptiness, not performing contentment, genuinely curious. The way a child is curious, the way a person is curious when they have not yet decided in advance what they are allowed to find interesting. That curiosity was not a mood. It was a field event. It was his electromagnetic broadcast shifting from the contracted, vigilant pattern of someone who is protecting a performance to the more open, expansive pattern of someone who is actually present with their own experience. And in that moment of genuine curiosity, his field became, for the first time in years, truly available, truly open to what the quantum field might assemble around it. And the quantum field, reading the new signal, began to respond. The landscape architect was in that drawing class 3 weeks later. The friend who called was calling within 6 weeks. The collaboration that changed his professional life was beginning to form in the quantum field before Darion had any conscious awareness of it, because his field had opened and the quantum field had begun organizing around the new signal. Curiosity is a coherence state. It is one of the most powerful ones available because it is inherently open, inherently receptive, inherently non-defensive. A curious field is a field that is not spending energy protecting a fixed position, and energy that is not being spent on protection is available for reception, available for the quantum field to deliver into. This is why following your genuine curiosity during a comeback, even when the curiosity seems impractical or unrelated to your strategic goals, is not a distraction from the comeback. It is one of the most effective coherence practices available to you. I want to pause here and ask you something. Has there been a moment in your own life when you felt your energy shift? When people around you responded differently? When something in the room changed because of what you were carrying? Share it in the comments. These moments of field recognition matter, and your experience is part of the collective luminosity we are building here. Now here is the deeper layer of the mechanics, the one that explains why the comeback, once it begins in the field, tends to accelerate in ways that feel almost improbable. In quantum field theory, there is a concept called vacuum fluctuation. The quantum vacuum, which is the baseline state of space itself, is not empty. It is filled with constant fluctuations, pairs of virtual particles that appear and disappear in fractions of a second, borrowing energy from the vacuum and returning it. The quantum vacuum is, in a very real sense, a field of pure potential, a field of everything that could happen, held in a state of dynamic readiness. Your electromagnetic field does not exist in isolation from this quantum vacuum. It exists within it. And the coherence of your field determines, in part, how your field interacts with the vacuum's fluctuations. A highly coherent electromagnetic field is more capable of selecting from the quantum vacuum's fluctuations in ways that favor its signal. This is a simplified description of a complex quantum mechanical process. But the essential point is this: coherence is not passive. A coherent field actively participates in the organization of what emerges from the quantum potential around it. In practical terms, this means that as your field achieves coherence, as your heart's electromagnetic broadcast becomes more organized and consistent, the quantum field around you does not simply receive your signal. It begins to respond to it. The fluctuations of the vacuum, the constant emergence and dissolution of possibilities, begin to favor the configurations that resonate with your coherent broadcast. This is the quantum mechanics of what people call synchronicity, the improbable coincidence, the right person appearing at the right moment, the opportunity that seems to have been waiting for you to be ready for it. These are not accidents. They are the quantum field responding to the coherence of your broadcast, and they accelerate as your coherence increases, because a more coherent field selects more effectively from the quantum potential. This is why comebacks, once they begin to gain momentum, often feel like they are moving faster than seems reasonable. Because they are, the quantum field is responding to an increasingly coherent signal, and the response compounds. This is also why the first signs of the comeback often appear before any external evidence of it would suggest they should. Before the new job materializes, before the relationship heals or the new one appears, before the financial situation stabilizes, before any of the external markers are in place. The first signs appear in the quality of what is reaching you. A conversation that feels different. An encounter that has a quality of rightness to it. A moment of synchronicity that is small but unmistakable. These are not coincidences. They are confirmation that your field has shifted, that the broadcast has changed, and that the quantum field is beginning to organize around the new signal. When these moments appear, do not dismiss them as small. They are the leading edge of the delivery. They are the quantum field's first responses to your new coherence. And how you receive them matters, because receiving them with recognition and genuine warmth generates a coherence, response in your field that amplifies the signal further. You become more coherent in response to the confirmation, which generates more confirmation, which generates more coherence. The comeback accelerates. The opposite is also true, and this is important to understand. When the first signs appear and you dismiss them. When you say, "This is too small to count," or "When am I going to see the real results?" or "This is just coincidence," your field responds to the dismissal with a contraction, a slight but real decrease in coherence. And the quantum field, reading the contracted signal, slows its response, not as punishment, as physics. The signal changed, and the response adjusts accordingly. This is why gratitude, genuine gratitude, not performed gratitude, but the real felt warmth of recognizing that something good is reaching you, is not a spiritual nicety during a comeback. It is a coherence practice. It is a way of maintaining and amplifying the broadcast that is drawing the good things toward you. Every time you genuinely recognize something that is working, something that is reaching you, something that is assembling around your new signal, you are feeding the coherence that generates more of it. Let me give you a specific practice for this, one that is different from the coherence breath we did earlier, and that is designed specifically for the comeback moment. This is what I call the recognition protocol, and it works through the mechanism of what heart math researchers call appreciation, which they have identified as one of the most powerful coherence-generating emotional states available to the human system. Here is how to do it. At the end of each day during your comeback, before you sleep, I want you to identify 3 things that reached you that day. Not 3 things you are grateful for in the general sense. 3 things that reached you. Things that found you. Things that came toward you, rather than things you went toward. A message from someone you had been thinking about. A piece of information that arrived at exactly the moment you needed it. A conversation that shifted something. A moment of beauty that interrupted the difficulty. Anything that arrived rather than being pursued. Write them down if you can. Not in a gratitude journal in the conventional sense. In a field log. A record of what is reaching you. Because what is reaching you is the most direct evidence of what your field is broadcasting. If nothing is reaching you, your field is contracted. If small things are reaching you, your field is beginning to open. If increasingly significant things are reaching you, your field is achieving coherence. The field log is not a spiritual practice. It is a measurement tool. It tells you the state of your broadcast by showing you what is responding to it. Then, for each of the 3 things you identified, I want you to spend 30 seconds with the genuine felt sense of it reaching you. Not thinking about it, feeling the warmth of it. The specific quality of warmth that belongs to something finding you rather than you chasing it. This is the warmth of resonance, the warmth of your field, and the quantum field being in communication. And 30 seconds of genuine felt warmth around each of the three things will measurably shift your heart's coherence pattern before you sleep, which means you will wake with a more coherent broadcast than you had the day before. Do this every day for 30 days and watch what your field log shows you, not as a test of whether the practice works, as a measurement of how your broadcast is changing, because it will change, and the change will show up in what is reaching you before it shows up in anything else. I want to add a specific calibration to the recognition protocol that addresses something that comes up consistently for people in the middle of a comeback. There will be days when you sit down to do the protocol and you genuinely cannot find three things that reached you. Days when the field log feels like it should be blank. When nothing arrived, when the day was simply hard and nothing came toward you, and the honest answer to the question of what reached you is nothing. On those days, do not force the three things. Do not manufacture them. Instead, do this. Find one thing. Just one. It can be extremely small. The quality of the light at a particular moment. A single line of something you read that landed. The fact that your body carried you through the day. The fact that you are still here, still doing the protocol, still tracking the field, even when the field feels empty. That fact alone, the fact of your continued presence in the practice, is a coherence event. It is evidence that something in you has not given up the broadcast. And 30 seconds of genuine warmth around that one thing, the warmth of recognizing your own continued presence in the process, is enough. It is enough to shift the coherence pattern slightly. And slightly is enough to make tomorrow's broadcast marginally more organized than today's. And marginally is how the comeback builds, not in dramatic leaps, but in the accumulation of marginal coherence shifts, each one building on the last, until the baseline has risen enough that the delivery can begin to reach you. Now, I want to address something that I have been moving toward throughout this transmission, something that lives at the center of what makes a comeback a genuine quantum event, rather than simply a recovery. It is the question of identity. Your electromagnetic field broadcasts more than your emotional state. It broadcasts your identity, the deep, often unconscious sense of who you are, what you are worth, what you are capable of, what reality is capable of delivering to you. This identity broadcast is not the story you tell yourself consciously. It is the one running underneath, the one shaped by years of experience and conditioning, and the accumulated weight of what has happened to you and what you have concluded from it. And during a significant difficulty, the identity broadcast often shifts in ways that are more damaging than the difficulty itself. The failure of a business becomes I am someone who fails at business. The end of a relationship becomes I am someone who cannot sustain love. The loss of a position becomes I am someone whose value has been diminished. These are not conclusions drawn from evidence. They are identity updates written in the language of pain. And once they are written, they become part of the broadcast, and the broadcast shapes what reaches you. This is the most important thing I will say in this entire transmission, so I want you to receive it with your full attention. The comeback requires an identity correction at the field level, not just a behavioral change at the surface level. And the identity correction happens not by arguing with the painful conclusions you drew, not by trying to convince yourself they are wrong, but by returning to a signal that is older and truer than the conclusions. The signal that is older and truer than the conclusions is this: you are a radiant field of quantum energy whose fundamental nature is coherence, not the coherence you achieve on good days, the coherence that is the baseline of what you are at the level of your electromagnetic field. Your heart generates coherence naturally. Your nervous system seeks coherence naturally. Your field wants to organize itself around a clear signal naturally. These are not aspirations. They are your default physics. What the difficulty did was not change your fundamental nature. It added a layer of incoherence over it, a layer of fragmentation that broadcasts the painful conclusions and obscures the older signal. The comeback is not the construction of a new identity. It is the clearing of the layer that is hiding the one that was always there. You do not need to become someone who deserves good things. You need to clear the broadcast that is saying you don't. You do not need to become someone who is capable of the life you want. You need to clear the signal that is saying you are not. You do not need to build a new self from the rubble. You need to let the self that was always there, the one that the rubble was covering, begin to broadcast again. This is the quantum mechanics of the comeback, and it is why the comeback, when it happens at the field level, feels less like building and more like remembering, less like becoming and more like returning. not to who you were before the difficulty. To who you were before the difficulty added its layer of incoherent broadcast over the signal you were born with. I want to give you a specific practice for the identity correction, because understanding it conceptually and actually doing it at the field level are two different things, and the field is where the work lives. This practice is called signal archaeology, and it works by going underneath the identity conclusions of the difficult season to find the signal that predates them. Here is how to do it. Find a quiet moment, ideally in the morning, before the day has added its noise. Sit with your hand on your chest. Do 3 rounds of the coherent breath, 5 counts in, 5 counts out, to bring your field to a baseline of organization before you begin. Now ask yourself this specific question, not as a thought exercise, but as a genuine inquiry directed at your field. What did I love before I learned to be afraid of it? Not what do I want? Not what am I good at? What did I love before I learned to be afraid of it? Let the answer come from the chest rather than the head. The head will give you a list. The chest will give you a warmth. Wait for the warmth. It may take a moment. It may surprise you. It may be something that seems completely unrelated to your current situation or your comeback goals. That is fine. That is actually a sign that it is the real answer, rather than the strategic one. When the warmth arrives, stay with it. Breathe into it. Let it expand. And then ask the second question. What is the core of that love? Not the specific form it took when you were younger. The core of it. The essential quality that made it feel like yours. For Celestine, the specific form was drawing buildings in her sketchbook as a child. The core was the love of making space for life to happen inside it. The firm was one expression of the core. The community consulting and the teaching and the writing were other expressions. The core never changed. Only the vehicle did. For Darion, the specific form was taking apart and reassembling mechanical things as a teenager, understanding how systems worked by holding their pieces in his hands. The core was the love of understanding how things fit together. The financial analysis was one expression of that. The collaboration with the landscape architect, understanding how financial systems and ecological systems could be designed to fit together, was a truer expression. The core never changed. Only the vehicle did. Your core signal is still in you. It has not been destroyed by the difficult season. It has been covered. Signal archaeology is the practice of uncovering it. And the moment you touch it, even briefly, your field begins to reorganize around it. The identity conclusions of the difficult season. The I am someone who fails. The I am someone whose worth has been diminished, begin to lose their amplitude. Because a signal that is older and truer and more rooted in your actual nature is broadcasting alongside them. And the older signal, once activated, tends to grow louder over time, not quieter. Do signal archaeology once a week during your comeback. Not every day, because it requires a quality of quiet attention that daily repetition can dilute. Once a week. And track what happens to your field log in the days following each session. Track what reaches you. Because the moments after you have touched your core signal are the moments when your broadcast is most organized, most purely yours, and most capable of drawing the things that are meant for you. There is a specific moment in every comeback where this shift becomes palpable, where the person stops trying to recover and starts radiating, where the field stops contracting and starts expanding, where the broadcast shifts from the painful conclusions back to the older, truer signal. Celestine felt it on the steps of the building she had made, watching a child draw. Darion felt it in a drawing class, being a beginner in front of other people for the first time in decades. You will feel it in your own way, in your own moment, at your own time. And when it comes, I want you to recognize it not as a feeling, but as a field event. As the moment your electromagnetic broadcast shifts from the incoherent pattern of the difficult season to the more organized, more expansive pattern of the signal you actually are. And when you recognize it, I want you to do one specific thing. I want you to breathe into it, literally. Take a slow, full breath and let the warmth of the moment expand on the exhale. Not because breathing is magic, because the breath is the most direct voluntary influence you have on your heart rate variability. And a slow, full breath in a moment of genuine warmth will lock in the coherence shift. It will help your field hold the new pattern rather than letting it pass as a feeling and return to the old broadcast. Breathe it in. Let it expand. Let your field hold it. Because that moment is the beginning of the delivery. Let me now speak to the people who are further into the difficult season than they would like to be. The people for whom the comeback feels not like something that is beginning, but like something that is still very far away. The people who are not yet in the reorganization phase, but still in the dissolution phase, where the old patterns are breaking up and the new ones have not yet begun to form. If that is where you are, I want to say something to your field directly. The dissolution is doing something. The breaking up of the fixed patterns, as painful as it is not destruction. It is preparation. The quantum field does not waste dissolution. Every pattern that breaks up releases the energy that was holding it in place. And that energy, once released, becomes available for the formation of the new pattern. The more fixed the old pattern was, the more energy is released when it dissolves, and the more energy is available for what comes next. You are not being emptied. You are being prepared. The dissolution is the preparation, and the depth of the dissolution is proportional to the height of what is coming, not as a spiritual law, but as a field mechanic. A field that has released deeply has more available energy for reorganization than one that has only released at the surface. The question is not, when will this be over? The question is, how do I maintain enough coherence during the dissolution to participate consciously in the reorganization when it begins? And the answer to that question is the same answer it always is: the breath, the hand on the chest, the genuine warmth of a single true thing, the field log, the recognition protocol, the 30 seconds of felt appreciation for whatever small thing reached you today. You do not have to be fully coherent to begin. You have to begin. And beginning, even from the middle of the dissolution, generates a coherence response in your field that makes the next beginning easier, and the next, and the next, until the reorganization has momentum, and the comeback is not something you are hoping for, but something you are already in the middle of, even before the external evidence confirms it. Because the field comes back before the life does. Always. The signal clears before the delivery. And if you are watching your field, if you are tracking what is reaching you, if you are doing the small daily practices that maintain your coherence through the dissolution, you will see the comeback in your field before you see it in your life. And seeing it in your field is not wishful thinking. It is measurement. It is the most accurate data available about where you are in the quantum process of reassembly. Trust the field. Not as a spiritual instruction, as a practical one. The field is the leading indicator. Everything else is the lagging one. Now let me bring this to a place of integration, because the transmission has covered a significant amount of ground, and I want to make sure it lands in your field in a way that is usable, not just understood. The central claim of this video is precise. Your comeback is a quantum field event before it is an external life event. It begins in the electromagnetic broadcast of your heart. It proceeds through the coherence of your field. It accelerates through the entrainment of the fields around you. And it delivers through the quantum vacuum's response to your increasingly coherent signal. This means that the most important work of your comeback is not the external strategy, though strategy matters. It is not the networking, or the planning, or the rebuilding of the external structures, though all of those things have their place. The most important work is the maintenance and cultivation of your field's coherence, because a coherent field does the strategic work better. It thinks more clearly. It reads situations more accurately. It communicates more effectively. It draws the right people and opportunities toward it. It makes better decisions. It recovers from setbacks faster. It maintains the signal through difficulty rather than fragmenting under it. Coherence is not a spiritual state. It is a performance state. It is the state in which you are most capable of everything the comeback requires. And it is achievable not as a destination, but as a practice, not as something you reach once and maintain forever, but as something you return to again and again. Each time you notice you have drifted from it. The drift is not failure. The drift is information. When you notice your field has contracted, when you notice the broadcast has shifted back toward the incoherent pattern of the difficult season, that noticing is itself a coherence event. The moment you observe the drift, you are no longer fully in it. The observer is always at a slightly higher coherence than the observed state. And from that slight elevation, you can breathe. You can place your hand on your chest. You can find the one true thing. And the return to coherence begins again. This is the practice of the comeback. Not a single dramatic shift, but a series of returns. Each return a little faster than the last. Each return building the field's capacity to hold coherence for longer before the next drift, until the coherence is the baseline and the drift is the exception rather than the other way around. And as the coherence becomes the baseline, the delivery accelerates. Because the quantum field is responding to a consistent signal now, not an intermittent one. A consistent signal is easier for the quantum field to organize around. The synchronicities become more frequent. The right people appear more reliably. The opportunities that fit your actual signal, rather than your performed one, begin to arrive with a regularity that would have seemed impossible during the dissolution. This is the arc of the comeback at the field level. Dissolution, reorganization, coherence, delivery. And the delivery is not a return to what was. It is the emergence of what was always underneath what was, waiting for the compression to end and the signal to clear. You are in this arc right now. Wherever you are in it, you are in it. The dissolution, the reorganization, the early coherence, the delivery, you are somewhere in this sequence. And knowing where you are in the sequence, reading your field log, tracking what is reaching you, noticing the quality of your heart's broadcast in any given moment, gives you the most accurate map available of where you are in the process and what is coming next. The comeback is not coming. It is already in progress, in your field, right now. The question is only whether you are conscious of it or not. And consciousness, as we have established, changes everything. A conscious broadcast is infinitely more powerful than an unconscious one. A conscious comeback, one in which you understand the field mechanics and are actively participating in the coherence that drives it, moves faster, and arrives more fully than one in which you are simply waiting for the external evidence to appear. You are not waiting for your comeback. You are building it in your field, right now. With every breath that deepens your heart's coherence, with every moment of genuine warmth you allow to expand rather than contract, with every small thing you recognize as reaching you and receive with the felt sense of your field responding to the quantum field's response to your signal. This is how it works. This is the mechanics underneath the experience. And now you know it. Not as a belief, as a framework for reading your own field and participating consciously in the most extraordinary process a human being can be in. The process of coming back, not to what was, but to what was always true underneath it. Your field is active. Your signal is clearing. The quantum field is reading your broadcast and beginning to organize around it. The delivery is in motion, even if the external evidence has not yet confirmed it. Trust the field. Track what is reaching you. Maintain your coherence. Breathe into the moments of genuine warmth. Let the recognition protocol become your daily measurement of your broadcast's progress. Let signal archaeology become your weekly return to the frequency that was always yours. Let the field log be your honest record of a comeback that is already underway, even on the days when it does not feel that way. And know this, with the certainty of physics rather than the hope of wishful thinking. A coherent field in a quantum vacuum does not broadcast into silence. It broadcasts into a field of infinite potential that is constantly organizing itself around the signals it receives. Your signal is coherent. The quantum field is responding. The comeback is not a possibility. It is a process already underway. You are going to win. Not because winning is guaranteed by some cosmic law of fairness, because a coherent field, broadcasting a clear signal into a responsive quantum vacuum, assembles reality around itself. Because the compression of your difficult season has concentrated a force in your field, that a field that has never been tested cannot match. Because the dissolution broke up the fixed patterns that were not yours and created space for the signal that is. Because you are here, awake, conscious of your broadcast, participating in your own coherence. And a conscious broadcast is infinitely more powerful than an unconscious one. You have been radiating something your whole life. Most of it you never chose, but you are choosing now. You are choosing coherence over contraction. You are choosing the older, truer signal over the painful conclusions of the difficult season. You are choosing to participate consciously in the quantum process of your own comeback. And that choice, made in the field, changes everything that follows. Your light is on. It has always been on. Even in the darkest part of the difficult season, even when the broadcast was fragmented and the field was contracted and the silence felt like it might be permanent, the light was on. It cannot be turned off. It is what you are at the level of your electromagnetic field. It is the signal your heart generates simply by beating. It is the radiance that is your fundamental nature, not your achievement. You never stopped glowing. You just forgot to look. Now you are looking. Now you know what your field is doing and why it matters and how to participate in its coherence. Now the comeback is not something happening to you, but something you are consciously generating. One breath at a time, one recognition at a time, one moment of genuine warmth at a time. If this transmission found you at the right moment, consider returning to it during morning stillness or in the quiet before sleep. when your field is most receptive and the signal lands deepest. And if someone in your life is in the middle of their own dissolution, their own coiled season, share this with them. When you pass this to someone whose light needs reminding, you are not simply sending a video. You are sending a coherent signal. Their field receives it, begins to resonate with it, and both fields strengthen through that resonance. That is how the collective luminosity builds, one activation at a time, one remembered signal reaching another. Welcome back to your own light. Welcome to the comeback that was always yours.